Hey everyone, I'm Dave Tinker. I am so excited to see all the attendees in our eCom breakout session. This is awesome. I want to thank all of you for joining our first user conference. It's so exciting to see how many people actually showed up. And Chris, I know you've been actively reviewing a lot of the dialogue going on in the chat. So It's really cool to see all the questions and the celebration and things going on there. I want to introduce you guys to two of my colleagues here. On your I don't know if you're seeing the same thing that I see on my screen. However, we have Bobby Juarez, and Bobby is our Director of International Sales. Bobby has been with DigitalChalk for a long time, almost as long as I've been here. And Bobby, if there's anybody who knows anything and everything about the DigitalChalk platform, that would be Bobby. Bobby's one of our key tester guys. He finds more things that help us to be productive than anyone. And then we have Chris Smith. Chris is our success strategist here in the United States. And so if you've contacted DigitalChalk in the last, say, 18 months, it's very likely that you've spoken to Chris unless you've gone directly to our technical support. So I am honored to have both of these guys on here with us. And looking at our session attendees list here, it is very cool to see all of you guys here. Thanks again for joining us. This is very exciting. Bobby, why don't you tell us just a little bit, while we're waiting for others to join us, tell us just a little bit about what you're doing over there in Europe.
Yeah, so about 5 years ago, I came over to Europe to kind of help us expand as a company, make ourselves more accessible for international clients. Previously, it was obviously very difficult if you were in Europe or even further east, trying to get a salesperson on the line earlier than 3 p.m. your time. So it seemed like we kind of came to that decision that if we really want to be more accessible, we already had customers internationally, but not as many as we could have, that we needed to get somebody over in that region. And it's been fantastic. I've been able to work with so many different people over here in all various different countries. I mean, I think from one day to the next, the biggest challenge for me is probably the time zones, because one moment I'm greeting somebody in the evening in Australia when it's morning my time, then the next time I'm greeting somebody who's in my time zone, or in the UK, I'm 1 hour ahead since I'm based in Prague. But it's been really exciting and something I'm really happy to do to take on as a project and to do for the company. It's been just fantastic.
We're glad to have you there, Bobby. It's great that you made that decision to go. I think it's really helped us expand tremendously. Before I have Chris introduce himself, I just want to let you guys know about the Q&A. So this session isn't really for us to continue to expound on things that you've heard, and hopefully you're excited about a lot of the things that you've already learned in the session. I actually saw an email come in as the session was going on saying, hey, why didn't you contact me? I would have loved to have talked about what we're doing in DigitalChalk. So going forward, it would be really cool to send out invitations to see which of you would like to participate in these kinds of forums. And it's super exciting to hear what all of you guys are doing in the platform. I mean, DigitalChalk is so versatile that depending on, no matter what it is that you want to do, if you're delivering really high level, very intricate courses like Kim, or maybe you're even just delivering video, DigitalChalk can handle all of that. And our system was really built from the ground up with continuing education in mind. So there are other platforms out there that you'll see that where they put a lot of emphasis on marketing and so forth, and DigitalChalk offers those tools as well. But we've really put our focus in making a robust platform that has continuing education experts in mind. So we know that you guys need robust reporting. We know that you guys need unbelievable tracking and being able to control the user experience so that you can meet your regulatory compliance and so forth. So what we want to do in this session is spend as much time with you as you guys would like. And in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, you're going to see a tab there for Q&A. And this is your opportunity to ask any questions that you might want to ask, things that maybe you've been thinking about for a long time, or maybe even questions that have come up as you've attended this conference that you would like some assistance with. Or maybe if you would just want to share some thoughts. I would go ahead and encourage you to go ahead and start popping your questions into that Q&A now. And as we go along here in this session, Bobby and Chris and myself will be answering those questions for you. Additionally, if you have any questions for any of the people that spoke today, specifically about their business, if they're still in the session, we have the ability to bring them on so they can talk and talk to you and address specifically questions that you might have about their business or things that they're doing. So I want to go ahead and encourage you to start popping your questions in the Q&A. I'm starting to see some of them come in. That's awesome. Thank you for doing that. And Chris, if you would, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us what you do.
Hey guys, I'm Chris Smith here at DigitalChalk. I'm a success strategist, which means I will help you work through the platform and achieve your goals through the tools that we offer. So help you bring success to your business through our platform. But I've been here about 2 years. I wish I could be in the Czech Republic. That'd be awesome, Bobby. You're so lucky. But no, I'm right here in Asheville, North Carolina at our company headquarters, and I am happy to work with any of you in person, over the phone, live, on a screen share, whatever you need. So if there's anything that we don't cover here today, feel free to reach out to me, and I'm sure Bobby with anything as a follow-up. So I look forward to this. And we are starting to get some questions coming in. So maybe we could work through some of these when you guys are ready.
Absolutely. Chris, why don't you go ahead and, since you've been monitoring questions, why don't you go ahead and kick us off there?
Sure. So Evelyn Johnson from Grace and Truth Christian, she wanted to know about our training, our onboarding, specifically tutorial videos around learning the platform and what she needs to do to get, it looks like syllabus and tests created. So I had a chance to just mention our Jumpstart training videos to her in the last session. But if there's anything you guys want to add to those videos or those tutorials and how we could just drop those training videos into Evelyn's courses for review. So that was our first question that came in.
One of the things,
yeah.
Let me expound on that a little bit, Chris.
Sure.
One of the things you'll hear me often harp about is our Jumpstart program. And one of the things that DigitalChalk does that's unique to other platforms out there is not only do we support you as administrators, but we also support your students. And there's not a lot of people out there that will, not a lot of other LMSs out there that will actually do that. But in order for you to fully understand what the capabilities of DigitalChalk are and everything that you could employ in the system, take advantage of, you get to learn through our Jumpstart process. And you heard Jay talk about earlier how he personally works with all of our new customers that come on board. Now, many of you guys have maybe gone through the Jumpstart process, or maybe you're super technically, you have a super high technical acumen, and you just jumped right in and it made sense to you and so forth. But what I want to do is encourage you, even if you've been a long time DigitalChalk subscriber, you've used the platform for a long time, there's likely things that you could still learn by taking advantage of going through our Jumpstart program. And you can meet with Chris, you can get with Bobby, you can go directly to support and request to go through Jumpstart. And essentially Jumpstart is just it's a tailored learning experience for you to help you know everything there is to know about DigitalChalk. So you're taking advantage of all the valuable features that we have available for you. So don't skip out on that. It's super valuable. Bobby, do you have anything you want to add about Jumpstart or even the training process that you have in Europe?
Yeah, I would say just one thing to add on that. I mean, I think you covered just about everything, but I think the one key thing is when you're going through the Jumpstart courses, if you don't see a feature, if you don't see something specific in there that you're looking for, that doesn't mean that we can't do it. There's so much functionality built into the system that if we gave you videos for everything, your mind would explode. We'd have 10,000 videos. So if you need something specific that you're not seeing, reach out to us, reach out to Sport, to Christopher, to myself, and we'll talk through that use case with you and we'll get you to the right solution. It's very rare when somebody comes to me and says, hey, we've been using the system for a year, 2 years, however long it is, and they have a new requirement. It's very rare that I'm not able to find a solution for them. So just keep that in mind. Keep us as a resource if you're not finding what you need.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
So Evelyn, answer your question, both live training, and we'll leave those videos in your course platform for you. We have another one here from our good friend Steve Connell at Real Time Learn.
Hey, Steve.
He is asking if we plan to add Zoom to our instructor-led sessions. Now, I have a few courses that have Zoom meetings in instructor-led session, so I believe we could do that. Dave, do you want to confirm that for me, or Bobby?
Well, you can certainly put Zoom links. You can use the custom session option in the IoT sessions and put in a Zoom link. It's not integrated the way that GoToMeeting or WebEx, those products are, in the sense to where you can connect it through authenticating and creating it in DigitalChalk automatically creates it over there and pulls it in. So it's not integrated to that level, but you can certainly use Zoom. I have customers over here that I'm working with who use Microsoft Teams, they use Zoom, they use JoinMe, just about anything out there, Adobe Connect, anything that you have that is delivered through a link that you would typically email to somebody, you can pop that into the custom session area in there. And really the big key is it says location. When you go to custom session, when you click on IoT and choose the custom session option, it says location. You could put in conference room B, conference room A, something like that, if it's something that's going to be face-to-face literally. But when you put a hyperlink in there, when you put in a meeting link in there, it realizes that that's going to be a video conference, and it creates a launch button right there when the trainee actually sees it. So you can use Zoom. It's not integrated like a couple of the other products we integrate with, but you absolutely can use Zoom or just about any video conferencing software you'd like.
Now,
Steve, thanks for asking. I'll talk to Troy.
Okay. And I just wanted to add, in the examples I've seen in Zoom, it does seem to show who showed up to that Zoom meeting and how long the duration of that meeting was. So there's some information about it in the gradebook as well. Okay, let's see here. Do I need to enroll in Jumpstart? I will reach out, Michael, for that, and we'll get you set up on Jumpstart training for a revisit, no problem. Let's see here. John Blackledge from LawLinks asks if we've considered some animation partnerships or integrations like Doodly or Toonly. Now, I've personally seen people use those as their course material, but I'm not sure about the integration. Have you guys heard this question before?
I have not. No, I have not. I know that Chris, you and I have talked a lot about different types of services and partnerships with other organizations. So what I would suggest what you do is reach out to support. You can send an email to support@digitalchalk.com. And like you mentioned, you heard Kim speak of earlier. You know, a lot of the things that we've built have come directly from customer requests, things that people need or things that we believe could benefit lots of other organizations that are out there. Those things go in our engineering roadmap. And so know that when you send an email to our support center and you say, hey, can you guys do this? Or I'd like you to consider doing this. When you get a response from the support team that says, we opened a request with our engineering team, and it's something that they'll consider for future development, that is sincerely going into our ticketing system with engineering. We use something called Jira. And they submit every one of those to our engineering team. And what happens is we go through development cycles. What they do is the engineering team takes a look at all those requests and they kind of filter through them to see, you know, if we had multiple requests for the same thing from lots of different organizations. And many of our great features that we've introduced have come from customer suggestions just like that.
Yeah, and John, just the second part of your question here, there is no charge for DigitalChalk. I am happy to sign you up for that live training onboarding, no problem. I'll follow up after this to get that scheduled with you. So he was asking how long we've had Jumpstart, because he's been with the company for 4 years now and hadn't been through it yet. So I think it'd be pretty helpful.
John, I started Jumpstart, let's see, I've been with DigitalChalk going on 15 years. So I've been here since just about the foundation of the company. And when we started Jumpstart, we actually started it as a live training program. So I would actually schedule a meeting with you, and we would spend about 2 hours together on a video conference and a screen share, and I would take you soup to nuts, start to finish, through the DigitalChalk platform. And what I realized over time was that after about 20 or 30 minutes, I've given you so much information that you can't possibly absorb all of it. and you start to glaze over and I start to lose track. And so what we decided we would do is introduce a self-directed learning experience where after you go through your advocate session with Jay or some other member of our team, they actually build a video-driven, we're using DigitalChalk. We used to have a guy named Steve that would say, we need to eat our own dog food. And so we build customized courses for you on the fly after that session that'll teach you how to use the system exactly like you need to use it. If you don't use SCORM, there's no reason for you to train on SCORM. So we want to focus your learning experience to expedite your ability to learn exactly what you need to do. Think of it as on-time learning, and you can go through that as quick as you want. And if you want to train at 3 o'clock in the morning, you have the ability to do that. So I appreciate the fact that you're reaching out for Jumpstart. I think that you'll find great value in doing it. So we look forward to delivering that for you.
Yeah, seems like there's a lot of interest in the Jumpstart training and onboarding here. And maybe it is a good idea for people who've maybe even been through it once to revisit the training and the onboarding, to check out the new features we've rolled out. Maybe there's some updates on features that they're very comfortable using, but now they function a little bit differently and have even more functionality. So it's worth it. There is no charge for it. Take it with your team. Take it multiple times if you need a refresher. That's one of our key claims to fame is our support team and the way you're trained.
Absolutely.
Dave or Bobby, it looks like there's a couple questions about the content library that Troy mentioned. Kim was asking how that would look, what we would do to get content into that library. Do you have any other information on that, or is that something we could send along?
I think that would be you, Dave.
Okay. Okay, so the content library has been something in the works for quite some time. And as most of you longtime DigitalChalk subscribers would know, for a long time, the challenge has been if I create a course and then I copy that course, again, like you heard Kim talk about earlier, if I need to make an update to that and I've got multiple copies of this same course, now I've got to go edit this content across multiple copies of the same course. What the content library is going to do, and what's so exciting, is you will be able to create, let's say, a chalkboard that's autonomous from a course. And it kind of sits in this content repository. And what's nice is you can then take that content and put it into your courses. So when you create a course element, you could create one fresh for a course, or you could create one in the content library. And then wherever you use that element across all your courses, 2 courses or 10,000 courses, it doesn't matter. If you're going to edit that, you can simply go to the content library. You can make your edit in that element, and then that will ripple through all of your courses. And that goes for all different kinds of content, whether it's video in a chalkboard, or whether it's SCORM content or downloadable materials, whatever that might be. It's going to be a separate autonomous piece of the course development structure that you'll be able to go in and start to utilize that. And so hopefully you'll find that wildly advantageous to the way that you build your courses. I don't have anything that I can show you right now. It's still in the development stage, so I don't even have a test example. But stay tuned on that, because as we begin to make it available, sometimes we allow people to beta test certain features. So I would encourage you to, if that's something that you're very interested in, send an email in to our support center and say, hey, when you release a content library, I would love to be a beta tester for that. I'd love to see what that looks like and how it works. And oftentimes we'll invite you into those beta tests.
And Dave, let me add on to that just one other amazing benefit that's going to come from this. I was actually working with a customer in the UK yesterday, and the situation for them is they're doing compliance training. And so they've got their SCORM file and they've got it in the course, but what typically happens, you launch the course, you register a bunch of people into it, you realize you've got a typo on slide 4 or some kind of scenario like that. And so he was asking, is there a way to swap that out and keep the people, the individuals, the trainees who have already completed it, maybe there's 4 or 5 SCORM perhaps in the course, from having to go back and do it again? Because that would be the process. To update a SCORM now, you would have to either suspend or just delete the old one, pop in the new one. And so when we have the content library available in the future, you'll be able to just go in and update that single SCORM, and it's the students won't even notice. They can go back and review it, of course, if your settings allow for that. But I think it's going to make it much more easy for those little mistakes where you don't want to have to interrupt the people who are already training just because you spelt one word wrong or something of that nature.
Yeah, this is a very exciting development, especially in the e-com space, because you guys are continually reinventing content, or you have regulations that are changing in your market where you got to adapt and adjust and so forth. And so being able to make these changes without completely having to reinvent everything that you've done is going to be a huge time saver for you. Okay, Chris, what's next? Chris, are you still with us?
Hi, Chris.
It looks like Chris is locked up here.
He lost his connection.
Yeah, let me go into the Q&A and let's see what else we've got here. Okay, so John Blackledge asks 2 questions. I was told there was a fix to allow more flexibility on repeat use of quizzes and tests by the admin. Bobby, you want to speak about being able to retake tests?
Sure. So when you create a test, I actually worked with a customer today on the exact same thing. When you create a test, the default setting is always it's always one attempt. I can't remember the terminology we use, but the default is that the trainee can only take the test one time. So pass or fail, that's it. But if you click on the actual element, if it's a test that's already activated, you'll need to use the edit the live version option when you click on the element in the course. And then you click, once you've done the edit the live version option, that's going to allow you to see the completion setting. So you click on completion, there you'll see a default checkbox. And when you check that, you're going to have 3 options. The default, which only allows 1 attempt. You're going to have another option that says must pass, which means the trainee can try that test as many times as they need to until they finally get the passing score, and then the test is complete. Or you can actually set a specific number of attempts. So you could set it to 3 chances, 2 chances, any number that you desire. So that's the way that you would go about that to be able to allow retakes.
Yeah, and one of the features in testing that we haven't had, that there's been a number of requests for a long time, is the ability for a student to take a test over and over again, even if they pass it. So the current strategy of a test is if they pass that test, they cannot go back and continue to take that test. And we recognize that that's an issue in certain environments, especially for those of you that are delivering training in an environment where a student is preparing for some type of a certification exam or something. So as Troy mentioned, there's a lot of enhancements coming for tests. And that's one of the things that's in that request is the ability for you to be able to say, okay, the student can take this test as many times as they want, regardless, pass or fail, and that will address that for you. And if I didn't fully address your question on that, John, please go ahead and resubmit so we can clarify that for you. I'd like to learn some more, or feel free to reach out to Chris or our support team and discuss that with those guys. They'll be glad to work with you on that.
A lot of questions around testing coming through, so I think that's going to be a real big update coming up here on the roadmap.
Okay, John. I just saw John ask when. So I'm looking at my board up here, and it looks like, I believe. Give me 1 second. Now, keep in mind that our roadmap has to be very flexible. There's things that come up. There's bug challenges and things that we have to work on to make sure that everything stays up and running. John, that looks like that's in our roadmap right now for delivery sometime in the second quarter. So it's supposed to be active start development as of the end of this year. And we'll look for development enhancements coming through the first quarter and hopefully final delivery by the end of the second quarter. That's what we're looking for.
All right, great. Dave, I had a few questions come through about the Teams feature, kind of how it's going to work, and if it's going to allow our clients to establish a hierarchy to let other people manage their own offerings, their own courses, and their own reporting. Can you give us a little of the information you have about that upcoming feature?
Sure. So So Teams is going to allow you to break out different groups of users, and you can kind of do that today, but this is going to take it to a whole new level. And in addition to Teams, there's another facet to that called permissions, which we're going to introduce a whole new set of permission roles. So today, like when you go in and you assign a role, today if you wanted to give a customer a role in your organization, you could give them the offering facilitator role that allows them to go into the instructor gradebook where they can look at student activities for certain offerings where you've given them that ability to do so. Well, with permissions, what we do is we will introduce a new suite of roles, and I'm not exactly sure what all the different roles are. I think that's still in development, but you're going to be able to have more control, and offer different options to your customers more than just being able to go into the instructor gradebook. Now, whether you give them the ability to create courses and manage courses and things, I'm not really sure. But you're definitely going to have a lot more options than you have today. On top of that, with the Teams feature, you'll be able to segment groups of users inside your platform. When you layer that with the other piece called brands, which Troy mentioned earlier, brands is a whole new ballgame for the way you're going to deliver Digital Chalk. And what's really cool, especially to you guys in this e-com space, is that for many years we've heard people say, well, I want customer A to have this specific user experience. I want them to be able to see these colors and their logos. Maybe you're building custom training specific to a certain group of people or a certain company that you're selling to. What you're going to be able to do is have all of that content inside of one organization, your Digital Chalk organization, and you'll be able to create these custom brands where when you have customer A log into your organization, you're going to give them a very specific URL. And when they log in using that URL, they're going to see their logos, their colors, the courses that you've created for them. And you could have customer B through who knows how many organizations that you might serve in that way. They can all have a custom branded experience. And that's going to be a total game changer. Because today, in order to accomplish that, you've had to have multiple Digital Chalk organizations so you could theme them accordingly. Well, going forward, we're going to change all of that. You'll be able to do it all inside of Digital Chalk. You'll even be able to custom domain those things. So if you wanted to custom brand it so that you make it look like your platform versus our platform, you're going to have that flexibility to do all of that in a single Digital Chalk organization. So that's very, very exciting.
That's awesome. That is going to be a game changer. I can't wait for that to be released. And then a few questions have been centered around course elements and timeframes for individuals. We have them on the course level, and some of them are on the offering level. I'm seeing a question here from Michael Bricker, who's saying because of industry regulation, it has to be 24 months for the student. Retake is a yes or no. Do we have plans to add a date range to that, to cut each student off individually, the individual time frame, so it then reappears in their course catalog?
Bobby, is that something you can address, or would you like me to take that?
I'm kind of taking that in and thinking about it. Is this a situation, I don't know, Michael, if you can send in information through, send another question in perhaps, but I'm wondering, are you selling from your website and people are coming to the website and purchasing that way, or are you manually giving them access? I would kind of need a little bit more information to be able to say what the right approach would be. Because I would say is one option is you could set one offering up to disallow retakes and then set up a secondary offering that would be available maybe in 2 years. I think we have certain settings, right, to where we can say perhaps,
like a catalog
complex one, but a catalog rule. Yeah, absolutely. So if it's going through the catalog, if it's going through Digital Chalk's checkout processes, that's what I was thinking maybe, but it just depends on what the use case is, the details that I don't know.
What I'm thinking there, Michael, is kind of along the same track that Bobby was on, where when someone completes a course, you could have a catalog rule that says, offer them this new course offering in the catalog 24 months after completion of this particular course offering. And then you could actually use a notification that sends them a notification that says, hey, your certification is coming up. You'll be able to access this new course as of this date. So you could use a combination of catalog rules as well as notification rules to automatically do exactly what it is that you've just requested. And you can do that today.
And if it's a situation to where you're manually assigning the training to the individual, we actually have registration rules depending on the account type that you're using to where you can actually set the system up to actually say reassign this course, maybe a new offering, but reassign this 24 months after the trainee completed this specific course or specific courses, reassign the course to the individual. So if it's something, because I know that this is the eCom and Breakout, but sometimes we have organizations who kind of do a little of both. They're doing internal and selling external. And sometimes they're kind of training their customers almost in an internal format, even though they're the ones directing it. So there's a lot of options. If there's something, this may be something you may want to reach out to us and have us kind of just talk through the use case with you just to make sure that we're pointing in the right direction.
Yeah, thanks for the question, Michael.
Yeah. One more around retake. Will there be a feature where by offering, we can allow the student to go back through the course for the duration of that offering rather than setting up elements for retake? That's Roger Odell. That's his question. It sounds like kind of the same answer where you turn on the retake and you can adjust it. I know we looked at a feature or a setting the other day as well, Dave, where you could say this many days after the individual, this many days after the course starts. So there's some micro configurations or micro adjustments that you could put on the retake as well. And by the way, I spaced this, but we're happy to invite any of you on the stage to elaborate on any of these questions. If you want to get in here and talk, you're more than welcome. Just let me know in this chat and I'll go ahead and invite you in. Also, I was told that we will be migrating existing content into that content library when we roll it out. So that was from one of our developers, just a little extra piece of information on that.
Roger, I don't know that we've explored going to the macro level on those retake options. I don't know that we've looked into that. That's definitely something that we could explore. Maybe even like a global rule or something like that you could apply that helps you to do something at a more macro level versus the micro in each of those individual course elements. I'll take that down as a note and talk to our development team.
We actually have a ticket for that one that's in the system. I'm not sure where it's at the moment, but it was kind of to do a globalization at the course level for not just revisitation, but also various other settings, some of the ones you have to kind of set at the individual element level. So I know we've got a couple of tickets in the system for that have been put in relatively recently. So we can. And
Roger confirms that he also has an email into Jay on that. So it could be that we're working it out.
Fantastic. Excellent. Thanks for the question, Roger.
Guys, it looks like we've addressed most of what's here. Does anyone else have any questions that you want to drop into this chat feed or maybe pop in and get on the stage and talk on camera here? Just let us know. We'll go ahead and make that happen.
And you can actually use the raise hands option if you want to talk on camera. Just go over there, raise your hand, and that'll let us know that you want to talk on camera.
There's so many people that are camera shy. But if you are an extrovert and you want to jump in here with us, we'd love to invite you to the stage and share in this great experience with us. I did see something in here I wanted to read. Oh man, the chat keeps.
Looks like Jan Tedder would like to join us.
Jan, all right.
Okay, let's see here.
While we're bringing on Jan.
You can add Jan in, I think.
Yeah.
Thank you. Two things. One was it's been so helpful.
Jan, are you there?
Oh, yeah, let's see.
I could hear Jan.
I can too.
Can you? Okay, good. It's been so helpful to allow my folks to retake the test because, and then we don't, their supervisor only knows that they passed the test because they have to take it until they make like a 70. And we make it clear in our directions that we don't share information about them having failed the test initially. And that's been really important to us because we have people from a variety of backgrounds taking our materials. And it's just felt wonderful to support folks in that effort that the test taking can actually be a learning process more than just a testing process. So I just wanted to thank you guys for that, helping me understand that recently. And then I did have this question that hasn't been addressed was, is there going to be a way to see aggregate responses to testing so that I can understand what questions are people most often missing so I can understand where I need to be a better teacher?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jan.
Really good
Thank you.
question.
There's been quite a bit of Q&A around that over the last couple of years. And, Troy alluded to the fact that if you've played with our survey element at all, it's going to be familiar to you as to what the new testing strategy is going to look like. And so one of the great benefits of the survey feature is that aggregate data that you just spoke of.
Right.
So I do know that as a part of the testing enhancement, that's definitely one thing that we're looking to enhance, is the ability for you to be able to see it so that you understand where your students are struggling the most in whatever it is that you're teaching, whatever it is that they were supposed to have learned.
Yep, that's great. Thank you, Jan.
Thank you for joining us, Jan. We appreciate it. Yeah. And there was a comment here from Virginia Callahan of PLS Pharma. She says, I would like to thank you for a great product. I feel that I could use it so much better, though, and take more and more of our courses into your platform. We're so glad to hear that, Virginia. Thank you so much for sharing that. And listen, Jay talked earlier about a consultative approach to support. One of the things that we employ here, hopefully you all have had great experiences with our support center. That's one of the things that we have prided ourselves on for many, many years. And we've tried to take a very personalized strategy with our support. For many years, I managed our support team. And one of the things that I've always taught the team in support is that we don't necessarily offer answers. We want to offer solutions. So as Jay mentioned, this consultative approach to support, what we really want to do is hear what it is that you need and then offer you a solution to help you meet those needs. And as I mentioned earlier, Bobby is probably one of the best and most creative DigitalChalk admins that we have. Bobby has created so many interesting and unique use cases for the way to use the platform. And Chris is really good at that as well. And our entire support team is as well. So if you're ever in the midst of a challenge, you don't exactly know how to do something, or you're even wondering if the platform will do it, give our support center a call or email those guys, and they would love to talk through that stuff with you and see if we can come up with a strategy that would help you accomplish exactly what you need. And then again, the Jumpstart is available to you to help you get a more firm grasp on what the platform will do. So take advantage of those tools. I think I saw someone earlier, Chris, they posted that they saw something about $300 for.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not sure where that came from, but it's absolutely free. In fact, I'm going to post the scheduling link for Jumpstart here in this chat because we had so many takers here that said they wanted to sign up. So this link that I'm going to post in this chat is so you could actually schedule your training. But I would encourage you to bring on any teammates who maybe want to participate, anyone else who might be working in the platform, and have everybody sit in on the training and really lean on our support team. They're world class. So I'm going to go ahead and post that. So if you see a link pop through, that's what it is. It's a scheduled training. So you guys could all take part of that. And no, there's no charge for this.
Fantastic. And I saw Michael Bricker just posted across 8 years, support has been amazing. Thank you for that, Michael. We appreciate it. We love to hear that.
We appreciate you. Real quick, Lee, I will reach out about landing pages, but the landing pages can be created very quickly in the platform. Every time you create an offering, it generates one of these landing pages, and I'm happy to show you some of the best ways to use it and some of the ways our customers use it. Do you guys have any tricks of the trade, any inside info on the landing pages, creative ways that you've seen people use it, maybe, Bobby? I know a lot of my folks, they jump off their website into a landing page instead of having a whole web editing kind of, project. These things go up in minutes. So I had a question about the best practices on those.
Yeah, so internationally, most international customers don't use the landing pages as much because our shopping cart currently doesn't support different currencies and tax collection options that are required depending on where you're at in the world. But I would say that some of our some of our B2B training customers who are training other companies, providing training to other companies, they will be a little creative in the sense that I've got one specific company up in Ireland, food safety company, does basically all the mandatory food safety, allergy awareness, manual handling, different courses like that. And for some customers, they sell directly from the website for individual people through one of our e-commerce integrations. But the majority of their customers, they actually just invoice the companies directly. Mm-hmm. And so for them, if they have a big customer, like for instance, I think they have Sheraton hotels, there's like 7 or 8 hotels up in Ireland. And for them, they use landing pages actually without any pricing attached to it, kind of free registrations. And they provide those links, those landing pages to that company. And they say, here's your 12 landing pages for those 12 courses that you need to train those new hires on and the reoccurring training. So anytime you need to get them registered, give them this link. They click the link, they come in, they get registered without having to pay anything. And then the company, the food safety company, just runs reports at the end of each month. And then they can say, okay, these specific 12 landing pages are tied to 12 specific offerings for that company. Mm-hmm. So they can quickly do a report with those 12 offerings and see how much they need to invoice their customers for. So I think that's one of the creative ways that some of our customers, international customers, use landing pages.
I've seen folks, clients of ours, also assign specific affiliate links to the landing page. So then you have a specific affiliate driving into a specific landing page for one offering, and then you can track the progress from visit of a website to sale, all from our reporting panel. Also, I think it's really cool how you could either bounce off a website or link off a website, a purchase page, a catalog page, but also you could send the landing page individually out from an Instagram post, an email, a Facebook, and drive directly into the landing page, because it really is your quickest way to purchase. It's a fully functional web page with an e-commerce engine. So there's a lot of great ways to use it, a lot of great ways to kind of make it your own. You could drop videos in. I have clients who drop in little pieces of HTML and buttons from their website, so it's all seamless. A lot of great ways to do that, Lee. I'm happy to walk through it with you as well in person. And then on the tests, Roger, we have a ton of features coming with that test update. I'm not sure if drag and drop is part of it. Do Dave or Bobby, do you have any insight into whether drag or drop, similar to what you might see in SCORM, I'm thinking, where you match up the answers to the question and it's a little bit interactive. Do you know if that's coming with the update?
I don't know for sure. I have talked with Troy about that, having a more interactive type test. So we'll find out on that. Chris, if you could take a note, we'll talk to Troy about that and see if that's a part of the update and let you know.
Yes, sir. And Roger, I'll also check into changing the fonts on the certificates and Google Fonts integration while I have that conversation, because that was one of Roger's questions as well.
John Blackledge, I saw your message here about getting in touch with you. I have your email address, so I'll get back in touch with you a little bit later this afternoon.
And for Roger, I don't know if it's already been recommended to him. It's you can always use a SCORM authoring tool potentially. There's some relatively cost-effective ones out there like Easy Generator that do let you kind of do drag and drop and various sequencing types of questions. So if it's something you absolutely have to have or something you just want to put into the system because you just want to enhance that learning experience, certainly I would do a quick little Google search of SCORM content authoring tools, see all the options. Most of those tools give you free trials you can play around with without any kind of commitment. You can even take those files and upload them in the system from those trials and just test it out and see if it works for you.
Some of my clients use iSpring because it's an add-on to PowerPoint, and many of my clients are very comfortable in PowerPoint. So if you connect to iSpring, you might be able to do some of that interactive functionality as well.
And Roger, I see it says you haven't used SCORM yet, but it's something you're looking into. You'll find that some of those tools allow you to do some really creative stuff, and then being able to utilize that inside of DigitalChalk is a real game changer.
Okay.
And looks like Evelyn has to drop. Evelyn, thank you so much for joining us today. We're so glad that you were here.
Bye, Evelyn.
Let's see. They need to use Animator Explainer videos on landing pages. Awesome. That's cool to hear, Lee. That'd be neat.
Yes. We covered Zoom integration. That'll be fun for Steve. Anything else, guys, in the Q&A? We're happy to answer some more if you have them. Otherwise, feel free to reach out to me, csmith@digitalchalk.com. I am
Chris,
happy
I see Courtney here from Rhett University is asking for someone to email her about accessibility.
Gaze. Right, gaze. She had a question about eye gaze. I wasn't positive what that was. I'm sorry, I was going to ask that. Do we have people who use eye gaze to take courses? I'm guessing that's an accessibility tool, perhaps a reader or something like that. Bobby, are you familiar with it?
No, but it looks like Troy's in here, so we could call Troy up if he wants to speak to that.
Yep.
What I think we should do is she's just asking for someone to reach out to her. So I think we should probably just do that. We could reach out to her and
absolutely,
and then we can explore that accessibility option with Troy.
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit about gaze. Yeah, no problem, Courtney. We'll do that for you.
Excellent. All right. Do we have any other questions in here? I'm going through the list.
Roger, we will. I'm going to check about the test functionality coming with the test updates. At the same time, I'll check about the fonts on certificates and Google Font integration, because I don't have that answer here, but I'll definitely get it for you and send it over.
I see a question here listed by Camtech admin asking in regards to test questions in the content library, if they'll be able to be sorted by category and keyword.
Yeah,
I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure the answer to that.
He was looking for a bank of test questions as well, kind of like I pull from this many questions, 150 questions, even though my test is only 10 questions long. But what he wants to do is kind of categorize it, and that might be part of the test update.
Yeah, I think what we should do is probably take down his information, Chris,
Yep.
and then as we learn more about what's coming in the test environment or in the library environment, we can get back in touch and let him know.
Got it. We'll do that.
All right, let's see.
It is a fine line between education and entertainment. I've heard that so much. You know, there's people who come in, they try to do this fun, and you know, it's cutting edge and it's entertaining, but at the same time, you probably have some compliance issues. You know, you still have to do the not so fun or clinical or sterile training. So I think we could come up with some examples and show you a few examples of people sort of bridging that gap between entertainment and training. So Mr. Drury, we're happy to work through that and show you some examples.
Karen Garrison asks, is there a way to advance to chalkboards without going back to the beginning? There are lots of different chalkboard options, so you can allow fast forward if you want to allow a student to bounce forward in a chalkboard. You can control fast forward, so you don't allow them to do that, so they can only progress as far as they've actually sat and watched through the duration of that material. And then through checkpoints, you can use checkpoints in the chalkboard that we talked a little bit about earlier that allow you to hold someone at a specific place in a chalkboard until they're able to successfully answer a question. You don't necessarily have to send them back to the beginning of the chalkboard to do that, but that's an option available to you. Bobby, do you have any insights on checkpoints that you'd like to share?
I have had a few customers who have you have to set the chalkboard to allow fast forward, but so for courses that are not compliance style where you have to force them to watch, I've had a few customers who have kind of created like a choose your own adventure style. So they'll have different questions, and if the person answers a certain way, they may skip them 20 minutes into the video to watch a specific section, and then depending on how they answer that question, they may potentially shoot them back in the video to the 15-minute mark. So they kind of have one video that really may be made up of about 20 separate sections, and then they just kind of have people moving back and forth. It's not a lot of people do that. It's a little complex to set up, and you got to really be specific on your settings. Make sure you're not accidentally getting checkpoints mixed up with other ones. If they're too close together, it may not fire off properly. It's always good to have, I believe, at least 10 or 11 seconds in between each checkpoint. I think that's the rule of thumb that I've kind of found out on my own. But that's really the only thing I can think of. But it's really cool. As
far as I've tested content progression in a chalkboard, your minimum transition time between any object that you're using, whether it's slides or checkpoints or chapters, is 3 seconds. So I wouldn't advise putting anything closer than 3 seconds. And like Bobby said, if you go out 10 or 15 seconds, you're definitely okay, but never put anything closer than 3 seconds. And Karen, if we didn't answer your question there, if we missed the mark on what you were asking, please resubmit or give us some extra clarity there. We'd love to address that for you.
You know, those don't always have to be questions. I have clients who put up checkpoint questions and they're, hey, do you understand the content I'm trying to show you? Kind of standard. I've seen, hey, everyone, let's stand up and breathe. Let's take a lunch. You know, everybody stretch. So I've seen checkpoints used in that way as well. I've also seen them like a pop-up video kind of thing, like, hey, did you know we were founded in 1859? And it's little fun facts along the way of training. So you can get very creative with the chalkboards and some of that functionality.
Another really cool thing to think about too is, if you remember when I was talking about Jumpstart and spending 2 hours together and kind of getting lost in all the different material, a great use of checkpoints is actually just creating random paradigm shifts. You know, you got somebody in there, if you got 60 minutes of video in a chalkboard, let's say, if someone sits there for that entire duration, they're going to check out. Mm-hmm. And so a great way to use that checkpoint is just to say, hey, are you there? How's it going? Like Chris said, stand up, take a breath or whatever. And it's just something that changes spontaneously in their environment that causes them to reset, to refocus, and now to be able to absorb the remainder of your material.
Pattern.
And yeah, and based on research that I've done on that too, I've read that 20 minutes is a really good marker for that. So it wouldn't exceed 20 minutes, but somewhere in that 10 to 20 minutes time frame is a great way to use checkpoints for paradigm shifts. All right. If you added, Ann Bates says, if you added any new demo videos to Jumpstart for features that have been added this year, Jay is continually creating new Jumpstart videos. So if you're, and I've also seen him create custom videos for people when they ask about specific training on something that's just unique to their business. So you can feel free to reach out to our support center, support@digitalchalk.com, and you can ask them anything. Hey, do you have a video on this? And 9 times out of 10, they're going to have one. But if it's a very specific thing just for you, some use case where you're using DigitalChalk in a certain way, Jay is more than happy to either spend time walking you through that, or someone from the support team, or even recording a video for you that you can reference over and over again.
I often do that with customers over here. Sometimes, you know, everybody's got busy schedules. You can't always schedule a time immediately, but you want to get the answer to them. And I've got on my Mac a copy of ScreenFlow. If it's something simple, or even if it's complex, if it can be covered within 5 minutes or so, I'll record it, narrate it, get that video, use Handbrake to crunch it down small enough to email it, send it over, and it's very effective, I think. So,
just
absolutely.
A general question: are we sending out a recording and link to this presentation and these sessions after this is over?
Yes, I don't know exactly when that's going to go out, but it's my understanding is that we're going to have a full video that you can refer back to, and I would expect that we'll see that in the next couple of days. So if you don't see that in the next couple of days, let's say the beginning of next week, just contact our support center and ask them for access to the replay of this broadcast.
Excellent. And that was from Kimberly Matson. And then Karen just wants to know how we communicate our upgrades. Typically, I believe it's an outgoing product update message, or maybe we notify you. I'll give you a call for sure if we have something new and cool. But do you have any extra information of, you know, kind of how we do it every time when we roll something out?
So every time we do some kind of a major announcement, what we do is we do a full dump of all of our administrative users, and we're typically just pulling our organization administrators. So if you're not an organization administrator, if you're a course administrator, you may not see those. But we do a full pull of all of our organization administrators, and then we send a broadcast email out to everyone to let you know about those feature enhancements, any kind of announcements, anything that we're doing in that capacity. Additionally, if you're not an org admin, I would just message your org admin and say, hey, is there a way that I could be an org admin, if that makes sense for you. But that's how we notify folks. And I recognize that we all have email overload these days. I mean, it's just kind of the nature of the beast in the business that we're in now. But I would say best thing to do is to white label DigitalChalk in your email so that you get those notifications that come in, and so that you don't miss those kinds of things. You'll also see us post blog posts about specific announcements that we make as well. So I would go and subscribe to our blog. One of the things that Chris and I have been doing a lot recently is doing videos and putting videos on YouTube. Bobby, do you have a specific notification mechanism that you use over in Europe?
Not at the moment. I think most of the customers over here also get the emails that's sent out by corporate back in the U.S. So, but I do know, of course, when I know that a customer is expecting a specific feature that's coming, I certainly always document that and set up a little task in CRM to make sure that I personally reach out to them, just in case that email does go to a spam filter or something like that.
Yeah, best thing to do is to white label DigitalChalk.com in your email. I also think that our emails actually come from what is it? It's no-reply@digitalchalkmail.com. So you may want to whitelist that one as well. So anything from digitalchalk.com or no-reply@digitalchalkmail.com, that'll help you. And if you're not sure exactly how to do that, contact our support center. Those guys would be more than happy to walk you through that as well. Chris, any other questions you see out there?
I think we're caught up. I will, Steve just wanted to know how to create affiliate links. You do that from your offerings screen, so I'm happy to walk you through that. That's a filter link on the left of your offering screen. So I'm happy to show anyone who wants to do that how to do that. As well as anything else that I know how to do, I'm happy to show you how to do it. Other than that, I'd send you to support, or Bobby, because he seems to know all this too. But yeah, I think we're caught up here, Dave, unless anyone else has a question.
Excellent. Well, I want to thank everyone for joining us today. I'm so happy with how this went and all the participation that we've had. And we are always available to you guys. So you can reach Chris and I by emailing sales@digitalchalk.com. We both receive those emails. I believe Bobby sees those as well. So you can email sales@digitalchalk.com with any questions that you have, or even if you're thinking about upgrading a service, or if you need an extra feature, or you want to explore the feature stack that you have to know that you're getting the most out of the platform, feel free to email us. We'd be glad to talk with you about that. And then any kind of technical questions that you have, feel free to email our support center, support@digitalchalk.com. Those guys genuinely love to talk to you. And I often hear from support that, people email in and they say, hey, Adrian, or hey, Jill, or hey, Jay, or Verinia, or whatever. It's cool that we have those kinds of relationships with our customers where you're not just a person in a database, right? You're somebody that we want to build a relationship with, to have a partnership with. And we really appreciate that about our business. So thank you guys so much. We greatly appreciate it. And if we can serve you in any way, please feel free to reach out to us. We would love to talk to you and help you with your business. Thank you guys so much. Take care.
Thank you, everyone.
Hey, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you for coming.